Hello and welcome to Waypoint's Pitch It. See, this show has gone through a bunch of changes recently. Hi, my name's Austin. I will be your host. I have joining me my friend Parker Aiden. How you doing, Parker?
Hello, Austin. I'm doing great. It is great to be back recording some stuff with you because it's been a while.
It has been a while. Parker and I go back to my original YouTube channel days. But to get to the changes coming to Pitch It used to be like a game show-esque show. We've had 3 episodes go up about that, and it's fun. It's really fun. It's just a lot of work to do on our end for me as a host and them as guests, bringing this long list of things to add and bring to the show. So now it's just gonna be more of a general discussion podcast. And I know what you're thinking. We already have tons of those. Here's another one. These should be shorter. So there is that. Parker, I brought you here to talk about a specific character. Who are we talking about today?
We are talking about the one, the only, Sly Cooper.
Sly Cooper, our favorite raccoon. Hey, hold on.
Ew.
I knocked over like 6 pop figures to get this guy. But
I
I
want
got
that
it.
one. I still don't have that one, but
Yeah, it's pretty dope. I do want to add that we have Alec recording. Alec, thank you for doing this. We
No
appreciate
problem.
it. Okay, so my little spiel. Welcome to Pitch It. My name's Austin. I'll be your host. Parker is my guest. We're talking about Sly Cooper. And what the question I posed to Parker is if you were given a blank check and control over the Sly Cooper franchise, what would you do? What's your direction? But before I get to Parker, real quick, before I threw you for a loop, I did have a few people write in because I posed the question on Twitter and a few people got back to me. Not a ton, kind of questionable there. Yeah, lazy piles out there. Just kidding. I love any interaction at all. I was surprised I got even two. So Court Lalonde, I hope I'm saying your name right. I apologize if I'm not. Who's been on content before? He was on an episode of Pitch It back in the day. He said, I think Parker would agree with some of this. I would want to remaster all of them and bring them up to date now. But first, I would want to the story of Sly's father. So he would lean into the story of Sly's father and the Cooper clan. Would still have his father meet his demise, harsh, in the end, but would love to flesh out both characters, father and mother, more. And that got me thinking,
yeah,
like, do we know anything about Sly's mother? Is
I
that
don't think so. Besides, she
yeah,
was like murdered with his father while he was hiding in the closet.
typical anti-hero story, right? Orphan, like, come on, it's too original. But I get it. Yeah, let's lean into those characters. Those are characters we haven't seen a bunch of. Yeah, and I thought Parker, I thought you would like the remastering. I know it's already been done for like the
Mhm.
PS3, I think, but remaster them again. I'd love to see
Yeah, I was just thinking about how I would get trophies if it came to PS4 or PS5.
it.
Especially like Thieves in Time, I only played through, I think, maybe twice.
Yeah.
Because you could do crossplay between Vita and PS3,
Mhm.
and I don't I
What
remember
a
I did
time!
that.
What
Yeah,
a time that was.
what a time.
Yeah, Thieves in Time. I like Thieves in Time for what it was. I think the fact that they made a game and then got bought and now it's just there and they left us on a huge cliffhanger and
Yeah, which
there
is
it
so
is,
annoying, right? Like
100%.
it would
So
be
I do
okay
have
to like
go on.
if it wasn't such a hard tease, but it was such a hard tease.
Yeah, like they clearly had a vision for the next game and they were leaning into that 110% and then it's just like, nope, sorry, we got bought. Facebook, thanks. Facebook bought Sanzaru, right? Does that sound right? Sanzaru Games.
Yeah, but it was like not super right after they made Sly Cooper. I think they'd made some other stuff first, and then
And then they got bought. Yeah, they were leaning into
yeah,
VR, if I remember correctly. They were doing some
yeah.
VR stuff, and that's why Facebook bought them.
Hmm.
Okay, I just realized I left my dogs outside. Hold on 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, so the other person who wrote in was Lily Zaldivar. She used to work at IGN. She do some working with her at 61 Indie. And she said, if I were given the rights to continue the Sly franchise, I would continue on from the ending of Sly 4 into Sly 5. We're about to enter spoiler territory if you haven't finished Sly 4. The goal is to find a way to reunite Bentley, Murphy, and Carmelita with Sly as Penelope continues her mad descent into chaos and becoming the next Clockwork. Now ready to completely destroy the Cooper gang. I do want to add that my idea for this has a lot of similarities to this, so I'm kind of angry. Finally, with the additional funds, I would like to once again remaster Sly 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the PS5. Pretty across the board, we just want remasters. We just want those games again. Sly 2 is very underrated, and I love that game. It's like almost a perfect game. It's like a 9.5 out of 10, maybe even a 10.
Per
The
reach,
heart, huh?
per reach.
100%. That game's great. The way I describe Sly 2 to people is like it's the most video game like you can play. Like it's just a mascot platformer that's just like masterwork. It's great.
Hmm.
The hardest part about being a Sly Cooper fan is that they ended Sly 4 on a cliffhanger, like we talked about, and knowing that Sanzario will not be making a sequel hurts 100%. It is truly up to Sony to allow them to create the game, and unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be happening. Hopefully, one day I can see Sly reunited with the team because Sly 4 was too sad of an ending for that whole series. And Parker, I feel like we totally agree, right?
Hmm.
If we never see Sly again, it's just like that. What a bummer! Like that's the word that I feel like is perfect for it. It's just a bummer. Like Sly
Yeah.
Cooper deserves better.
Well, especially for how they keep kind of treating him like a mascot. Like he's been in promotional material for PlayStation.
Hmm.
And that's what's, I mean, I follow the Sly Cooper Reddit, which is not like a super strong one compared to some
Sure.
others. But still, people will like point that stuff out. And it's weird how they just like haven't been producing any content, but yet they'll release a Funko Pop for it, you know?
Which I love. So
Yeah,
whatever, I'll take it. It's weird because like they'll still like yeah they'll give him attention here and there with little side projects or whatever, but they won't give him a game. I think he was in Ratchet and Clank as one of the Easter egg from the Easter egg gun or whatever that is. I remember someone telling me about that. I could be wrong. I do know that there were like entries in there that were hinting at Sly Cooper as well, like little facts or whatever, background information about
and
Sly
he's
Cooper.
referenced in Ghost of Tsushima too, which makes sense because Sucker
Yep, Sucker
Punch.
Punch. Correct. Yeah, there's like I think there's a bandana and you can get the bandana has the cane and yeah,
Yeah,
100%. Yeah. Sucker Punch, they love Slide. They should just break off into like a tiny 10-person team and just for the next
right?
3 years make Slide 5 or whatever, Slide 4 and just finish it. Slide 5.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Lily. Thank you, Court, for your ideas. I think we agree for the most part. Like leaning into Penelope or leaning into characters like the father and the mother would be pretty good ideas. I think we take that. And then
Mhm.
Lily goes into like let's address the elephant in the room in that cliffhanger, right? Like let's
Mhm.
let's at least lean into that for the very beginning. Maybe that was just like a way to throw you off. So at the very beginning, you're at that scene or you're at that setting, and then you're immediately taken away from it. You know what I mean? They can do whatever they want as long as they take care of that one scene in the desert. So.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Parker, Lily, and Court said their piece. What would you do if you were given a blank check and permission to do whatever you want with the Sly franchise?
So I think most ideally, I would love to see Sly 5 continue or like Sly 5 happen and like that storyline continue because that cliffhanger sucks. But I
Oh yeah.
don't think, yeah, there's the but, but I don't think with how, and I don't remember the time frame from Sly 3 to Sly 4. It was a while. And I think it's been almost longer now from like Sly 4 to current.
I think it has. I think you are correct.
And I think for it to be like revived, it needs the Ratchet and Clank treatment where they just like kind of remake slash redo the first game. And it sucks because I wish you could think of a clever way to incorporate that like cliffhanger into it.
Yeah.
Uh, but honestly, I would love to see Insomniac pick it up because they always had like two big games running and then like random VR like smaller type projects it seemed. So hand that bad boy to Insomniac, who's proven themselves with Ratchet and Clank,
Mhm.
well, and Spider-Man, but like Ratchet and Clank being pretty similar, and let a smaller team like reboot the Sly Cooper franchise.
Mm. Yeah. Reboot it. So you're gonna continue on and start a whole new like line of games, not just one more to cap it all off.
Yeah, I think was it the Fiendish Five? No, what was the Fiendish Five in the
I
first
mean, it
game?
sounds right, but again, it's been a while.
I'm trying not to confuse it with Kung Fu Panda, and their group of
There are a lot of similarities in a way.
yeah. But like have them be the villains, give them like make it open world. Don't do the like hub world with levels that you like teleport to.
Right.
Um and like go through that first game again. And that's where I was trying to think like could it be a mix of like it's a reboot, but it's also a continuation? Like could Sly be lost in time? He somehow meets up with his father and somehow they're like trying to beat the Fiendish Five before he dies or something. I don't know. Like the logistics of how you could tie that in. Because I think it would be nice to learn more about Sly's, both of Sly's parents.
Yeah, and Court brought that up. So
Right.
yeah, and we I think didn't we get hints at his dad? I thought we did. I could be wrong. I know that his dad was supposed to have died, but I thought we got more hints at like something about his life wasn't as it seemed.
Yeah, and I just remember from the third game, he was the one that like taught you how to slide on lasers.
That's
That
right.
was like his entry to the Thievius Raccoonist.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, I think that's a totally good idea. So I find it interesting that you want to reboot it entirely. No
Well, I
remasters or
mean,
anything?
well, of course I would love to see a remaster, but I'm just thinking in terms of like getting the franchise back going again and not risking what happened with Sly 4 where they like make it, and I feel like it was successful. Like it reviewed pretty well, must have not sold as many copies as it needed to. Um, but for it to get back on its feet and to get more people into it, I think you have to just remake it, especially since remakes are so popular. Um, just remake the first game and try to get new fans that are kids back into it, as well as then like you and I, who are like, I don't, if it's a new Sly game, I'm playing it regardless.
110%. I'll take a stupid like mobile game at this point. Like I would play it. I might not like it, but I'd play it.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess, you could look at the example of Crash Bandicoot where they like did the first three in the Insane trilogy and then like jumped in with four and they were like, yeah, there were a lot of other games, but like this is officially four. So you could do something kind of similar to that.
Yeah,
But
I
I feel
think
like
if
also
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like four's storyline makes it so complicated with the time travel that it's not as easy to jump in.
Yeah, anything involving time travel can get really kind of balled up and misconstrued and stuff like that. For the record, what the gap between 3 and 4 was 6 years, and the last one came out in 2013, so it has been longer now. And then it is the Fiendish Five. I looked it up, so
Okay.
that is correct. And there was a third thing I was going to bring to the table that I completely forgot, which is something I do as host all the time, so that's cool.
You are not
Um,
alone.
remembering things is tough. Let me tell you. So, is that everything, Parker? You would just reboot the franchise?
I think so. I mean, I would like it to stay similar to Ratchet and Clank, which I never played the first Ratchet and Clank, but I played the 2016 remake,
Hmm.
and like I think they kept a lot of the bones and meat of that game,
Hmm.
and like just do that. Like just do a good remake, re-energize the franchise, and then like make your money.
Sure. I mean, I feel like that's a big question mark. I feel like if they go for a full-on reboot, the first game doesn't get received well. That's it. Like, and maybe the reboot doesn't happen. Like maybe it's just a reboot attempt.
True. But that
But
could
we did.
happen with Fly 5 too, because people could be like,
Sure.
what the heck? Why is this raccoon in the desert? Raccoons don't belong in the desert.
You got him. You got me. Um, but you said Insomniac would take it, right? That's your dream
Yeah.
studio.
Yeah, because I know Sucker Punch, I think I remember reading articles, and this was around the time like they were infamous too, so it's been a while ago. But they really valued having like one core team and not doing multiple teams like Naughty Dog. And I think Naughty Dog 2 kind of like split into teams and then got back together, but it seems like they still have separate teams because they were doing like Lost Legacy and Tangent with like starting part two, Last of Us
Mm,
part two.
sure.
But I think Insomniac could treat it so well. They've proven themselves to that. And
Hmm.
I feel like that's probably the best studio to hand it off to, especially since Zaru is Facebook now.
Yeah, I agree that Insomniac's a good studio. To don't know if, but I mean, I said blank check in your world, so like I get it. I think that's a good pairing. I think I like
Mhm.
the pairing. I think they would do the IP well, do it justice. I don't see it happening.
So, Austin,
Yeah.
what would you do? And who would you choose?
Ooh, just turning it on me just like that. So
Yeah.
before I get into mine, the other point I remembered was, if anything, I think Crash doing what it did with the Insane trilogy and then coming out with four. If that did anything for the for Sly Cooper, I think that made it more likely. Whether or not it's just like
hmm
1% or whatever, I do think it helped the likelihood of Sly Cooper coming back.
And I will add on that. I think if they remaster the first three Sly games or like one through four, that's a pretty surefire sign that like we're gonna get a new Sly game. And if they remaster them, it's probably going to be in the form of Sly 5.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I would do if I were to be given a blank check. I would just make Sly 5, and here's why. I like the idea of a full-on reboot. I do, because that would be my dream scenario. I just don't think it's very logical because I think you want to just cap it off and get it done. Because the fans are just they're dying for it. I know we have a loud minority of people where like it's a big fan base, but like it's not huge. It's not gonna blow the doors off anything. But so I think you do it for the fans. can you just do one game, because you know you're most likely not going to make your money back on it if you make it the game that will encompass this entire journey and Sly as a character and do him justice. I think you're going to probably take a loss, or if anything, it's just going to be a solid 8 out of 10. You're going to get your money back, and that's probably it. Kind of a thing. You're doing it for the fans, type of thing. I think it should be a small 10-person team at Sucker Punch, like I just kind of glossed over. I've kind of forgot that's what I actually wrote down as well. I didn't even mean to put that in to the beginning of the show. So Sly Cooper 4, I title it One Last Time because
Mhm.
it's or I think it should be 5, but you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, it could be 4, right? Because then was Thieves in Time. Did that have a number?
No, it was just like
Yeah,
Cooper Thieves in Time.
yeah. So it could be 4 or 5, however you want to play with it. Sly 4 is a modern action adventure platformer stealth game focused around when we last saw Sly in Thieves in Time. This will scale in scope and budget similar to Ratchet and Clank and wrap up
Good.
Sly's story. So at least we have that in common. We see Ratchet and Clank, we see Insomniac's vision, and we're like, hey, that would work. We think
Mhm.
that would pair well. My log line, again, this is all things I wrote a long time ago, so I'm more prepared. It's unfair. I apologize. My log line is help rescue Sly from his trap in the past and fulfill his story with the gang. Familiar faces, tears, and so much thievery. Studio Sucker Punch. Think how Insomniac is Sony's Spider-Man studio, making Ratchet and Clank their legacy title. Now swap in Sucker Punch for Insomniac and Sly for Ratchet. Pretty much what Parker already said. So at least we're on the same wavelength with the type of like work we want done and the type of treatment we want done to the IP.
Yeah. Well, as soon as you said Slide 2 was the best game, I like knew we were gonna be pretty similar because
Band of Thieves, yeah. It's just I don't think they do anything exceptional in terms of video games. But I think at the time it was just so polished. I think everything worked.
Mhm.
Everything just it was great. Like I honestly that's probably like the best overall game I've ever played.
Mhm.
Maybe right after, which is odd, but Ghost of Tsushima, which is weird because Ghost of Tsushima made by the same people. Um, they just have all the cogs work together, and I love when like systems are complementary. And I feel like Sly 2 with all the sneaking around, the stealth, and the cute characters and the story going around, and Carmelita and all that. I just thought that was great, and I think they complement each other very very well, both in Ghost of Tsushima and Sly Cooper 2: Band of Thieves. Now, if my
And when Slide
phone,
3
go on.
when Slide 3 got rid of the bottles, I mean, there was no chance it was gonna be Slide 2, like the clue bottles.
Yeah, that was a weird choice, right? It's like that was
Mhm.
one of my favorite parts of the game, and I feel like they did the bottle so well too, because a lot of times like collectibles can be like, like okay, that's fine, but there's never an obscene amount of them, and
Right.
they're always very obtainable. Like some
Mhm.
of them are challenging, sure, but there's only like a handful of those that are super challenging, and they're always like you can see them, and you're like, ooh, I can. It's always like the left path when the right path is clearly easier, but the left path is totally doable. You just have to know what you're doing,
Which
kind of a
I
thing.
remember they made Sly 3 in, like, 9 months. I watched some sort of documentary where they
Mhm.
talked about, like, the turnaround on that game, and it was like, "Holy cow, okay."
Yeah, and Sly 3 for being made 9 months, with that caveat, is a great game. But Sly 3 is probably my least favorite of the core 3 games. I think 1, one of those things where like you can't have the MCU without Iron Man. Like I think 1, like Sly Cooper started it all. Sly 2, one of the best games ever made that no one's ever gonna talk about. Sly 3, it's the third game.
Yeah,
Kind of a thing. It's just there. It's great. It's just it pales in comparison to 2 and then what 1 did to start the franchise. And then
yeah,
Thieves in Time I like, but I think it's pretty much tied with 3 for like that last spot. I was just ecstatic that it was here,
it
like, I was
existed,
just so
yeah.
happy, yeah. I think
So
it's imp go on.
no, I was gonna ask a question about Sly 5 and
We'll get
what
there.
your vision.
We'll get there. I think I do wanna add that I think it's impressive how Sanzaru really did capture the essence of, like, the first 3 games. Like, if you just plop that in front of me and asked me
Mhm.
who made this game, I would say it was the same people. Like, it would have had to have been, but no, Sanzaru just they had fans that liked Sly Cooper, and then doesn't the story go that they freaking started making a game and then pitched it to them when their game was, like, halfway made or whatever?
I don't know if it was halfway
Something like
made, but I
that.
think they had that first world, like, pretty well fleshed
Mhm.
out. And yeah, they just were doing it without having any sort of rights, and they're like, "We really wanna do this." And then I think they stuck them on doing the remaster of the
Mhm.
first 3 to,
Yep.
like, be approving, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, well, yeah, you can make this 4th game then."
Mhm. I was so happy. I haven't
Me
been that
too.
happy in a long time for a stupid mascot. Like it's a mascot platformer, but it's so much more than that. Like I would say that like that counts as a mascot platformer, but the
Mhm.
stealth elements, the story, something about it. It's just polished, just
Yeah.
polish at its finest for that type of game.
Yeah. So good.
Okay, and the characters included are Slies, plural Slies, Bentleys, plural Bentleys, Pharaoh Cooper, Farrell Cooper is just the character that has to be there because he was hinted at in the teaser that we were left with in the desert. Murray's, plural Murray's, Carmelitas, plural Carmelitas.
You're getting
You
into
getting
this.
it? And Penelope's. The narrative. You start as a mystery character searching for Sly in ancient Egypt. Egypt. I'm taking you on a ride here, so close your eyes if you want. You don't have to. You are led into a trap, but saved as Sly reveals himself, saying, "Is that you?" The screen pans, revealing that you are Bentley, standing on his own 2 feet. You fast forward, learning that Sly's. Alec and anyone out there, Bentley is a turtle in a wheelchair. If that makes any sense.
No, it's just impressive a turtle standing on 2 feet. That
Oh
was the
yeah,
main
that's it. That's it.
point.
I mean, that's a good point too. To be
Never
fair.
mind the point he can talk.
And he's a genius, and he's great. You fast forward, learning that Sly's relative Cooper sacrificed himself in order to save our favorite thieving raccoon from enemy attacks. Bentley's escapade searching for Sly, with the time machine leading him to fix his own legs and undisclosed things. Undisclosed things, but I put in parentheses so you know, so the audience will know. But as you're playing the game, you wouldn't know. Bentley couldn't locate Sly for too long and grew mad with the time machine. So he was trying to find Sly for so long that he lost his mind. Previous Bentley time travels back in an attempt to stop Penelope, but it only made things worse as Penelope becomes a super villain. Past Bentley put 2 and 2 together about Sly's location after some investigating with Murray and a mystery source, and the mystery source is the other Bentley that lost his mind, as I will hint to and refer to as Mad Bentley. Bentley warns Sly that they have to go back to their time in order to stop a great threat, Penelope, but doesn't reveal, because they took Murray. So Penelope took Murray. A wiser
Wow.
Sly wants to, but refuses as he has a responsibility here in the tribe after taking over for his ancestor who sacrificed himself. So he's given up his thieving ways and he's now leading this like tribe of people. And then
Wow.
Bentley comes into the middle of that. Bentley convinces him to come back after fixing things here in Egypt, to which Sly has his own agenda. Using the time machine to bring back his ancestor and reset the timeline, Sly betrays Bentley. Another twist. Wow, he's just one after the other. Using the time machine to bring back his ancestors to the timeline, Sly betrays Bentley. At first, Bentley is against it, but then realizes it's the only way to save everyone. You continue as Sly and the gang, resetting the timeline while stealing power sources along the way. Subplots throughout the game. Wiser Sly questioning himself. Not crippled Bentley. I hate that that's how I refer to him. Missing the person he became when crippled. Does that make sense? So like he
Yeah,
became a different person when crippled. And, yeah, I
right.
mean, probably more likable to an extent. Bentley losing Penelope again. Sly altering Carmelita and his past to protect her. Bentley reveals Carmelita's fate to avoid talking to Murray. Apparently, Carmelita dies in this idea. I can't remember that part, but Carmelita might be dead. I put a crying emoji.
One of the Carmelitas.
Correct. One of the Carmelitas you caught on quick. Sly and Bentley's relationship with Murray, knowing what comes in the other timeline. Mad Bentley becoming the main villain due to other Bentley's lie. So Mad Bentley is the overall villain, but it's like caveated or like glossed over as Penelope for the most of the game.
Mhm.
Structure. Part 1, correcting Sly's tribe. 2, power source job. 3, stopping Penelope. Power source job. Saving Murray with unaware Murray. Power source job. Protecting Carmelita, and then stopping Mad Bentley. So in between you have like the typical structure of Sly Cooper where you're in this fantastical world with a enemy you have to reach, but you are also trying to collect this power source so you can make another jump
Okay.
in time.
Okay.
So why don't you just go all the way to the end? Because you don't know where you're going yet, and Bentley's figuring that out as they go.
And you're like gathering more allies along the way, I'm
Mm-hmm,
assuming.
mm-hmm,
So the thing I don't like about
mm-hmm.
this, otherwise I think it's
Ouch.
great. I would be along for a ride.
Okay.
I just don't like because Penelope, they like copy and pasted basically her arc from Sly 3 to Sly 4 of like she
Mm-hmm.
was disguised as this bad guy. It's her and Bentley fall in love. Well, they had fallen in love, and then like he finds out it's her. This a little rocky, but they like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then she becomes a bad guy again in Sly 4. It's like really like can we get off of this Penelope thing? But I think it would be cool because I don't know if we ever learned how Clockwork was like made before, like his origin story. So that'd be cool if it was.
Didn't we? I
I
could have
don't know.
swore we did. Maybe I'm just wrong. I know there was a big thing about his. They made a big deal about his original assembly and how he was like he had to like trick people to even or whoever made him. I don't remember if it was him or someone who made him, but he had to trick a bunch of people to get created or something like that.
Because
It
it
was
would
this
be
big deal.
cool if you find out Penelope was the one that created Clockwork,
That would be
right?
really cool. Yeah.
Like, and then it's kind of a full circle back to that first game.
Mhm.
I'm going to see if I can find.
Sure. Quick Google search. He's on the prowl. But yeah, and the whole Penelope thing. Yeah, Penelope, just as copy and paste storylines, isn't the strongest character. But I had to work with what was already written into these scripts. Okay, I had to work with that and make it well.
Mm. So the Sly Cooper wiki says he was consumed by the jealousy for the Cooper clan's reputation as thieves and hated them to such a degree that he replaced his mortal body with soulless machinery just to keep up with them through time.
Hmm. Yeah, so it was him. I just can't remember if it was him or if someone was helping him. I can't remember.
So really, you could just say Penelope was the one that helped him like achieve that,
Hmm. Or
pushing
like a
him.
Penelope ancestor kind of a thing.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. That that would be cool.
It's almost as if this Pitch It episode has led to Parker and Austin writing a script for Sly 5.
Right? Who wants to call us up and hire us because we would take that job.
110%. It'll be like a 6 out of 10, and we'll be like, yeah, we did it.
Like we don't care. We just made another Sly game happen.
We've made it happen. So, yeah, Parker, what do you think about my idea overall? You picked it apart because you're rude and you're mean, but what do
Should
you
have
think overall?
complimented first and then gone for the insult back
There
to
you
compliment.
go.
But I like it because I mean, I think with Sly 5 you have to address the cliffhanger of like Sanzaro basically set up Sly 5, and
Mhm,
your pitch has that like well thought out of where you would go with it. So
mhm.
I approve of that. Because if you made Sly 5 and just like Sly was back and not lost in time travel, I would be like, no, like we can't do this.
Yeah, I
We
can see
can't do
them.
this
I can
here
see
now.
them doing that, and they just have like a cutscene that's like, and Bentley found him, and blah blah blah, and then because Bentley's smart. He had
Well,
like a backup plan or something.
so before I was just like eating dinner before we recorded this, and I decided to search Sly 4 Thieves in Time, and I started watching all the cutscenes from it, which is only like 40 minutes. And the first one was like 5 and set up so much like just fast forwarding of like I had amnesia, and then I don't know if Carmelita and him actually got married, but like going through all of that and like kind of just skimming over stuff, and I was like, man, they made some jumps here.
Mhm. Yeah, a fox, the Carmelita the fox marries Sly the raccoon. I mean, kind of marries. I think they were gonna get married. I think they just like married. Like you're married now, kind of
Right.
a thing. Like, yep, we're together forever. Raccoon and a fox. All right. So we're gonna end it. Before we end it all, and that sounded weird. Before we end the episode and go into why my idea was probably crap, I do want to touch on the rumor, the 4chan rumor that Sly 5 might be being made. Do we believe it at all? And again, it was on 4chan and a few other questionable sites. Do you believe it?
My heart wants to, but like I don't know. It came from because I read about it. I don't know if it was like IGN or like a bigger news outlet, and they picked
Mhm.
it up from a YouTuber
I
that I
think it might
used
have
to watch.
been Kotaku, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think so. Um, because the YouTuber had seen it from 4chan, and he was like, "Well, this is a more credible source than others, but still, it's 4chan." And then Kotaku was like, "Ah, this YouTuber was like pretty well backing it up." And I was like, "Okay," but he was the one I always went to for like Crash Bandicoot news and stuff.
Sure.
So when I found out it was him, I was like, "This gives me a little more hope."
Hmm.
And like, given he's still saying it's a rumor, I want it to be real. I don't know who would be developing it though.
I think in the rumor they disclosed that it's supposedly Sucker Punch, which makes me not believe it.
Yeah,
Unless
yeah,
they do have a small team working on it, like that's never gonna happen.
right. Because I mean, you have to assume they're already working. Like, they just released Ghost of Tsushima director's cut, but
Hmm.
you have to assume they're working on like the
Hmm.
full sequel to Ghost of Tsushima.
I feel like they're working on more content for Legends. They're working on the next Ghost game, and then probably another thing we don't know about. But I don't think that's Sly Cooper.
Right, I agree.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it's unfortunate.
yeah, otherwise I would love to see it, but I don't think because they announced a Sly Cooper movie that never happened either.
Oh
So
my God, has that ever been officially canceled?
I don't think so. Well,
I
eventually it was a movie and then it turned into a TV show that never happened either.
think that wasn't it the other way around? Wasn't it a TV show that turned into a movie?
No, because they announced Ratchet and Clank at the same time, I thought.
Did they? Okay.
I think it
That
was
sounds
like
right.
yeah, they like announced Ratchet and Clank and that came out first, and then I don't think that one did good at all.
Have you
So
seen
then they were like,
the original screenshot for Sly Cooper's design? Like his actual design on the movie? It's terrible.
yeah,
It's
I
bad.
remember not liking it. Yeah,
It was everywhere, like on people's thumbnails and stuff, and I was like, oof, no.
yeah.
Looks
But you would,
terrifying. It honestly kind of looks like, now I think about it, it looks like Weasel from the last Suicide Squad movie.
I've not seen that movie yet. I
You've seen the
will.
trailers, right? Of Weasel
Yeah,
being in there? Yeah. Sly
sure.
Cooper kind of looks like Weasel.
Okay.
It's bad.
Oh, poor
Yeah,
Sly.
I don't believe this for a second. I don't. If Sly Cooper 5 is being made, I don't know who would be making it. I don't know who would be asking for it. Like I don't see PlayStation being like, let's see who we can get on this. Like they're not gonna do that. They don't care about it anymore.
I think it'd have to be another Sanzaru situation where it's a studio you haven't heard of and kind of wants a big break, and
Mhm.
this couldn't do it for him.
So yeah, you would reboot the franchise, maybe remaster some games. I would probably just focus on 5. I would just bring this one final game to end it all. Say, here you go, fans, shut the hell up. And again, that's us. That's me being annoying as well on the internet. Like, give me Sly 5, please, you cowards. But yeah, that would be my plan. Parker, thank you for joining me. This has been fun. Sly Cooper is the best boy.
Sly Cooper is the best boy.
Yeah. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next Pitch It episode. Bye.